Christmas is supposed to be a happy, cheerful, positive time in your life, not, I don't want to look at my credit card bill. It's amazing how advertisers convince people to go swipe with the old credit card because it's not painful at the moment and you're getting, a great deal, you're getting a great buy, quote, quote, that's what they want you to believe.
For sure.
It's the hype, it's the advertising, it's the music, it's the excitement of the day to be part of the Black Friday atmosphere.
Some of the credit cards, because of some of the rise in the Fed interest rate and other things like that, now they're riding at 30 to 35% interest. So you have to understand that when you're buying something, if it takes you a long time to pay it off, that great deal that you got, if you just waited and saved up the money yourself, you probably actually could have paid for it cheaper just by paying cash.
But when the children were little, I was rather be broke and spend time with the children than be gone with them and watch them grow up when I'm not there.
Absolutely.
That's a life lesson that I made. And yes, I sometimes I look back and go, do you really think I made the right choices?
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Financial Mastery Simplified. I am your host, Jax Crider, and today we have Santa. He is joining us back again, and that's why I needed some jingle bells to introduce him. And if you guys remember, we did Christmas in July here a few months back, and guess what? We're almost to Christmas, so of course we had to have Santa back to talk about, all the things, money, all the things, because we don't want you to go broke at Christmas, right, Santa?
Definitely not. I mean, Christmas is supposed to be a happy, cheerful, positive time in your life, not, I don't want to look at my credit card bill. Did I say it right?
Yeah, we don't want you to start off 2025 with a huge credit card bill, huh, Santa?
Absolutely, because, I can give you a reindeer to give you a hoop in the butt to say this is not acceptable.
There you go, guys. You're going to end up on Santa's naughty list if you guys are not being reasonable when it comes to financials, right? So let's just talk a little bit about what is coming up, which is going to be your Black Friday and your Cyber Monday. And I don't know. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, sorry, wrong song.
Exactly. So for those of you who do not know and or are not aware, Black Friday is called Black Friday because it is when real retail goes from being in the red, which they've been in all year from a money perspective, to being in the black. Hence the name Black Friday. And so that is why. And why exactly do you think that they go from being in the red to being in the black? Do you think? Guess?
Well, I would have to think that it would have something to do with those great big signs that say, sale, 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 buy now because this is the best deal of the year.
Yep, exactly. So we definitely are consumer nation in America, and we often get kind of pulled into the trap of, oh my gosh, it's on sale. It's an amazing deal. I need to buy it. I've got to have it. I need to give little Timmy or mom or whoever the heck it is some giantly expensive present. And truthfully, I will tell you from all the years that my family has been doing Christmas, and my mom and I are big time gift givers. So like in fairness, like we're definitely like those people who love gifts. It's not as fulfilling as you think it is. And it just ends up causing you a lot of money loss and debt.
That
I mean,
is
for
not
real.
The happy sounds of I scored a deal. It means, how do I pay for this in January?
Yep, absolutely. Well, and like I said, a lot of times people just don't realize that sometimes it's not even as good a deal as you think. So for those of you who have never kind of seen some of the expose people who do things like on TikTok and whatever else, I watched one here recently because we recently, not horribly long ago, a few months back, we had Prime Day, right? So Amazon Prime Day is another, kind of Black Friday-ish kind of idea where all of a sudden all these things go on sale. And so we have this kind of FOMO, oh my gosh, we need to buy it right this second kind of attitude. And the lady did this thing and realized that some of the items she had been looking for and excited to possibly purchase actually went up in price on Prime Day. And so
No, I would have
sometimes
never believed that.
I know, right? So sometimes people believe that like they're getting such a great deal, but if you really were to track and like pay attention to what the item, costs and all those kind of things, sometimes it's really not as great of a deal as you think it is, etc.
That's why it's called promotional advertising.
Yeah. Like
And I'm
Santa.
not even, I'm not even a marketing major and I'm not even a price gouger, but it's easy to, you know, if you do your homework, and that was the sentence you were emphasizing on, if you do your homework and follow the prices, misleading, like somebody should be put on the naughty list.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say that definitely. I think a lot of the advertisers probably should be put on the naughty list. Santa. Let's just be real. They're definitely preying on some of those things. And what makes me really sad is that a lot of the people who end up buying during this period are the people who probably can't maybe afford it. Because again, they do convince themselves that it's such a great deal. Now, if you were doing what Santa and I suggested months and months back, maybe you were putting aside a little bit of money for, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, stuff like that, right? So maybe you had been setting up some of that little kind of honey hole, if you will, bank account to be able to do some of those things. But I am going to encourage you to consider that a lot of the things that you're going to be looking to buy just really might not be as important as you think.
It's amazing how advertisers convince people to go swipe with the old credit card because it's not painful at the moment and you're getting, a great deal, you're getting a great buy, quote, quote. That's what they want you to believe.
For
But
sure.
it's the hype, it's the advertising, it's the music, it's the excitement of the day to be part of the Black Friday atmosphere when you actually sit down and grab a pen and paper. How many people grab how many people grab pen and paper anymore? Okay, they make lists on their phones
There
of
you go.
some of the items that they need that they might want to purchase over the next, 4 weeks. Like, do your homework, folks, because, it might be not a great deal. It's just a great lot of hype today, and it might be a deal next week.
Well, and Christmas is probably one of the most unfortunately commercialized holidays because of this idea. In fact, I don't know if you're aware of this, Santa, but did you know that a major advertising campaign is pretty much what turned your suit red permanently? Because prior to Coca-Cola's advertising campaign, which was taking place, oh, let me fact check myself here. I think it was in the 30s, so around 31. Coca-Cola was basically struggling to sell Coke in the winter because it was viewed as a summertime drink, right? You kind of think of yourself as drinking a cold Coke, and so you think of that. You wanted to drink that when it was hot, and so a very smart advertising individual said, well, how can we kind of fuse those ideas? Santa had been portrayed in mainly like red and green outfits, but a lot of times that was coming up green. And so he made sure that this time Santa was portrayed in Coca Cola red because it was way better for his advertising campaign so that people would then start linking Santa and Coke together. And we all know growing up, we've seen all of these very famous, very adorable Coca Cola advertising campaigns with Santa. And again, a perfect example of taking something very sweet and maybe over commercializing it just a touch, to prey on the commercial aspect of people's minds.
Yes, absolutely. And the red has become a symbol of happiness and joyfulness to a lot of people until they start associating it with a credit card bill.
For sure. Well,
You
and
know,
for those of you who maybe don't think as much about what you're doing as far as a credit card bill goes, credit cards can be very useful tools if used correctly, but they can be incredibly dangerous if not used correctly. In my mind, they can be like legalized loan sharking. Some of the credit cards, because of some of the rise in the Fed interest rate and other things like that, now they're riding at 30 to 35% interest. So you have to understand that when you're buying something, if it takes you a long time to pay it off, that great deal that you got, if you just waited and saved up the money yourself, you probably actually could have paid for it cheaper, just by paying cash.
By paying cash.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's crazy to me that people think that, but it's true, right? I mean, that is definitely how a lot of aspects are, and so people just don't like they don't realize that, they don't think that all the way through. So I always like to kind of remind people that don't fall into the trap of, oh, we have to
Jax,
have it, etc.
let me interrupt for a moment.
Sure.
Why don't you explain to people, since you're the money lady, what $100 bill would look like after, I don't know, 2 months or 3 months at 35%? You know, the old proverb is if you pay for something cash, it's $100 bill. But what does that $100 bill look like at 35% after 2 months?
So I can't do the math necessarily in my head, but I'm going to pull up a compound interest calculator because this is what most people don't understand. Credit cards are based off of compounding interest. So it compounds daily, which is actually kind of a negative thing as far as that goes. So I will take a look, but it's crazy. If you actually look at the minimum credit cards, minimum payment on your credit cards, if you only made the minimum payment on your credit cards, usually it's going to take somewhere between 25 and 27 years to pay them off.
Yeah.
That's if you had nothing extra to principal.
Right.
So my mom's rule was always, if you basically couldn't put the money on the credit card and pretty much immediately pay it off by the end of the month, then you didn't really need it. And that really is a pretty good adage. And credit cards should kind of be used more as a, emergency situation, and or like I said, where you can use it to get points and then immediately pay it off. But if you're going to allow it to sit there and compound, it's not a pretty picture. And I will get you an accurate figure here momentarily.
Not to put you on the spot or anything, but
Nah, it's okay. Compounding interest, it's not something that's like super, super easy to calculate, but it is something that is going to truly blow your mind. Like, here, let's just say that we have a credit card balance of $3,000. Let's say that we're at a 33% interest rate. I mean, the balance is going to be something pretty crazy. Like, let's just say that we wanted to just pay $200 a month on that $3,000 balance. It's going to take almost 2 years to pay that amount off. I mean, it's just crazy, like the amount of money that it takes. And I have been guilty of this
whereas if
myself.
you got a bank loan at 4%, you wouldn't get 4% right now, but even if you got 8%, that would be paid off, I don't know, maybe in about 18 months versus, it would save you a lot.
It's going to save you a lot. The other thing that people don't understand when it comes to money is the fact that it's, again, compounding interest versus simple interest. So when you're dealing with a regular loan, you're talking about they've already calculated that interest out amount, you know what I mean, per payment. And so it's a lot easier to not only control how much interest that you actually pay, but you actually understand it. Okay.
Right.
Credit cards also have gotten kind of wise. Like, there's a lot of promotional type amounts where it's like 0% for 12 or 18 or whatever months. But you have to be very, very careful, because if you do not pay it off in that amount of time and you pay off like the full promotional balance, you'll get hit with the full amount of interest over the entire life of that period of time. So there's a lot of things that people just do not kind of understand or think through. And the old saying that hell is the road to hell is paved with good intentions is really true. You think that you're going to do this, you think you're going to handle that, and it just doesn't work out that way.
No,
Doesn't go according to plan.
And there's a reason why they offer, free interest for 18 months, because they know the average person does not make that commitment.
Nope.
And they can make up oodles and oodles of money from your viewers today. And
For
we
sure.
want our viewers to maybe understand that. Think about those purchases that you're going to make or that you want to make, and especially with it coming up to Black Friday, be careful because Santa doesn't want to put you on the naughty list because you made a couple silly purchases that are going to end up biting you big, 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 big time.
Absolutely. Well, and I mean, the thing about it is too is, again, we had this conversation in July, but we'll have it again. A lot of people are not aware that things are incredibly fleeting. Things break. There are a lot of other options. Like my husband and I, for our anniversary, I actually purchased, as opposed to purchasing an actual physical thing, I purchased an experience, right? I set aside a certain amount of money that I wanted to be able to spend. That was my budget. And then I was able to get an amazing experience. And it was like supporting a local farm in our area, and having this really nice dinner. And it was a really amazing experience. But I also tell the story of how one of my daughter's absolute most favorite things that we do with her all the time is blowing bubbles, which cost literally next to nothing.
Right.
To be able to do. In fact, I mean, if you really want to make bubbles, you can literally use like dish soap and a little bit of water and pretty
Yeah.
much make bubbles yourself.
Well, Mrs. Claus likes to, she likes to keep very busy when she's not making any cookies and feeding Mr. Claus because she, looks after Mr. Claus very well. But,
That's good.
she likes to make blankets. Now,
Yep.
a homemade blanket for some people can last them a lifetime if they look after it. And what does that cost you? Well, time and effort and energy. And, you got to buy a little bit of product to start it. But, a $20 investment or $25 investment, for example, can make a beautiful blanket. And the expression on people's faces when they look and they open up that present and it's a homemade blanket. That's priceless right there. But they
Oh,
know
yeah.
it's made from a lot of love. And those, you can
Absolutely.
start in July or August and have a couple blankets made pretty quickly and pretty easily if you've got the talent or if you want to learn how to do that.
I was gonna say, yeah, there's a lot of skill that can be learned there. Or like I said, if you're not into the making things, my family started doing where we draw names and you only buy a gift basically for one person in the family as opposed to buying it for tons of people in the family. And so we do that. And then the other thing, and actually last year we did something even a little more different, which was really fun. We did white elephant good and bad. And what I mean by that is so some people think of white elephant as like always a bad thing, right? You're opening things that like are undesirable and then you're sort of fighting over the least, the most desirable of the undesirables. So we do it that way and the other way. So basically everybody had a limit. The max you could spend was $100. And you had to buy a nice gift. That was the first part of it. And then you had to go around your house and you had to find something, didn't matter what it was, that you did not want anymore. And you had to wrap that up. And so we did one round where we did the nice gifts, right? And everybody was trying to bid or fight over the nice ones. That was one round. And then the second round was the undesirable gifts. But the crazy part is that you found some people who were really excited about some of the things that you were excited to get rid of. Like we had a box of gumballs, and that's what my oldest stepdaughter ended up with, and she was stoked. We had this box of gumballs that was going to go bad if it didn't get used like within a very short amount of time, and we wrapped that up, and that was the gift we gave. And she was so stoked to get this box of gumballs. So it's kind of just different creative thinking. And I give my brother credit because that was his idea for us and our family, but it was a good one, right?
Absolutely, as long as you don't end up giving, the gift that someone gave to you back to the same person.
Oh, no, no, no. Yeah, you can't. So the rule is in our family is that once it's stolen, twice it freezes, and whoever is the one who like brought the gift, that you can't have it, right? It's got to be for somebody else. But it just was a lot of fun and a different way, sort of, to look at gifts where you could still get a physical something. And then we also put just more of our time and our effort into making a really nice meal for everybody, and just doing stuff as a family and trying to do maybe a little bit more events around Christmas. Because I just feel like there's a lot of societal pressure to do all the things around Christmas, right? We need to take our kids to all the things and we need to buy them 8 million presents and we need to do this and it's like sometimes that's just really not necessary, right? Like you could just do like one little gift and couple of fun activities that aren't even necessarily expensive, and there you go.
You know what I'm seeing trending on some of the social media right now that families are doing?
What's that?
And you had said it, I believe it was on our last episode. People are getting their families together and having game night, whether it's a board game or a card
Yes.
game or a fun night, and they're spending time with their family, whether their children are growing up and they're including their grandchildren or whatever the case may be, but they're creating opportunity to spend time with their family instead of going out and spending time spending money,
Right.
So
Absolutely.
that is awesome to see because we all know there are, and you just said it, you don't have to spend a lot of money to create that memory.
Right. Well, and here's the deal. Some of our listeners may not struggle, like maybe financially speaking, they're, above means, and it's not a struggle to be able to do whatever they like, which is amazing. And if that's the case, something else you can do too is like some of our favorite Christmases as well, is Christmases where the gift was not a physical thing, but we all got to go on a trip the next year. So
Yeah,
like the gift was is that we all went somewhere together, and it could be an expensive somewhere together or non-expensive somewhere together, right? But it
yep,
was like dollars better spent in the form of like a trip somewhere than spending all this time and money and we, got them the newest designer bag or whatever the case may be that just is going to end up on a shelf with 800 other designer bags.
Stay tuned. We'll be back right after this message from our sponsors.
Imagine having the power to control your financial destiny, no matter where you start. Welcome to the Financial Mastery Simplified course and resource platform, where financial education is tailored to your unique journey. We cover everything you need, from basic budgeting and saving strategies to advanced investing and retirement planning. Learn at your own pace with lessons that match your level of experience. Whether you're a beginner or looking to enhance your financial knowledge, join our community of learners and benefit from shared insights and expert guidance. The Financial Mastery Simplified course and resource platform equips you with the skills and confidence to take charge of your financial future. Ready to master your finances? Enroll in our courses today at the Financial Mastery Simplified course and resource platform. Start your path to financial independence now.
Hello and welcome to PBJ Mortgage, where your home ownership dreams become reality. Today, we want to share why choosing PBJ Mortgage is the right choice for your home financing needs. At PBJ Mortgage, we're built on a foundation of values that drive us every day. Our commitment to educate, empathize, and empower our clients sets us apart in the mortgage industry. Our clients are at the heart of everything we do, and their success stories speak volumes. With years of experience, our team possesses in-depth knowledge of the mortgage programs, ensuring you receive expert guidance and the best possible rates. We offer a diverse range of loan options to suit your unique needs, including conventional, FHA, VA, and more. No matter your situation, we've got a solution. At PBJ Mortgage, we pride ourselves on providing personalized service. Our dedicated loan officers are here to guide you every step of the way, making the process as smooth as making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. We understand that time is of the essence, which is why we've streamlined our processes for efficiency and convenience. Transparency and clear communication are paramount. You'll always know where you stand throughout your mortgage journey. Reach out to us today to set up a call to discover your options. If you're ready to make your home ownership dreams a reality, contact PBJ Mortgage today. Let us empower you during this exciting journey. Phone number 4-693-733-107 www.pbjteam.com. Visit our website or give us a call to get started. We look forward to helping you secure your future home. PBJ Mortgage, where home begins.
Thanks for your patience. Now back to our conversation.
right. Yeah, yeah. So again, we started back the way we started this whole conversation off. Do your homework, find out what people actually need or want that they're going to utilize, because what you may think is a great idea because you love it doesn't mean that person that's going to receive it is going to absolutely love the same idea because they have different tastes, they have different ideas, and that's what makes everybody so unique and special. And
Absolutely.
we want to please somebody, but like you say, if you please someone with a gift that's going to sit on a shelf, who did you please when you made that purchase?
For sure. Well, like I said, I mean, so this goes back, and I don't know how many listeners are familiar with the five love languages, but understanding what somebody's love language is actually really effective in understanding how you should gift them. So, for instance, my love language is actually gifts. So I would be the right person that you would want to find something to buy, but I like something that actually speaks to me, something that's unique. And I say all the time, it doesn't necessarily have to be expensive, right? My
No.
girls last year bought me this. It was like a key ring, but it looked like a gingerbread man, and I just loved it because I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is a gingerbread man key ring," and I don't think it was really that much money, but I thought it was the most fun thing ever that I could use during like the Christmas time of year on my keys, just as like a fun reminder, right? Whereas my husband is probably more physical touch and then also quality time. So I definitely will win over him more if I am trying to figure out special events he and I can go to together or something that we can sort of do. And so a lot of times we're sort of missing the boat by believing that the commercialization of Christmas means buying everybody 800 gifts. It
Right.
doesn't necessarily mean that. So
No,
you're right.
no. Again, it comes down to knowing the person that you're trying to buy a gift for
For
and what
sure.
they really want, because everybody has different wants. And it's not necessarily the newest and brightest gadget and gadget that's on the market.
No, for sure not. Yeah. Well, like I said, I mean, we've had conversations about other things that people can do that literally don't cost any money. It's like we've gone into society and just forgotten. Like I tell my husband all the time, why are we leaving the house? Well, because we need to go do something. Okay, well, why can't we do something here, right? Like we've got so many options. Like we have a cool backyard. We could go spend time outside. We could go for a walk. We could be playing games. Maybe there is a fun family show we want to watch as a group, and stuff like that, etc. And so I think a lot of times we've gotten away from some of the things that are just literally spending time together,
Yes.
just enjoying each other's company, setting down the technology for a hot minute and realizing that we should stay present. Instead, we're trying to keep up with the Joneses and take photos of it so we could post on Instagram that I did the latest, greatest, coolest, whatever it was, instead of just being present and enjoying time.
The American society is on fire to have the newest gadget and gadget. But what is that doing for the family budget? What is that doing for the family atmosphere? It's easier and it's cheaper, and sometimes it can be a lot more fun to spend time with your children. Like you say, playing games, having a bonfire in the backyard, creating, making s'mores, having some giggles and laughs, because creating happy, joyful memories, which is what I say to a lot of people for my videos, creating happy, joyful, positive memories with your family, they're never going to go away. They don't have to be on the shelf because they're the newest gadget and gadget. Memories are what keeps the families together, and we love to share positive, happy, joyful memories with our family and friends. Hey, you know what we did the other day? We went into the backyard and we giggled and laughed because, we sat around the bonfire and we did this and we did that. A lot of people don't understand that concept anymore because it has to involve the TV, or it has to involve some kind of gadget or game on the computer and stuff like that. When bonding with the family members, and I think a lot of people are forgetting that bonding with the family is going to last a lifetime.
Oh, for sure. If you guys are blessed enough to still have around your grandparents, I highly recommend that you take the time, whether it be physically in person, on a phone, or however you can do it, and start documenting some of their stories. Because I'm just telling you, I miss my Oma so very much. That's my mother's mother. I was very close to her, and I could just sit at her feet and listen to her stories of Germany, of growing up in the Great Depression, of living in a war-torn country, of going and experiencing war, of actually, and a lot of people are gonna be like, oh my gosh, she met Hitler more than once, right? And at the time, you got to think about it, that was an actual political figure, and nobody knew he was kind of a horrible guy at that moment. But like, what a cool thing. And if I hadn't spent the time and the energy to sit down, to listen to her stories, to ask her questions, right? I mean, that's literally probably some of my favorite things growing up. My dad had this tradition when we would go to my grandma's house that when he put us to bed, he would tell us stories about our family, and we had to guess who the main character was in the story, whether it was our grandpa, my dad, his sister, whoever it could have been in our family. And it was such a kind of a fun way to sort of story tell. But there's so many powerful, like fun, exciting things that can be created just out of storytelling, and an experience, a
Absolutely.
perspective.
I only had one grandmother, uh, grandparent in my lifetime, and one of the favorite parts of going to grandma's house and not weeding the garden, of course, but you'd come out and it's time for a break. Well, she'd pull out the a rhubarb pie and put it down on the table, and she'd cut it into four. There would be my brother and myself, my uncle, and my dad. So there would be four of us. You didn't dare leave the table until it was finished. And it was like, Grandma, these are big pieces. Ah, you boys can do it. You worked hard. But I mean, if you are exactly right. How many people don't have the opportunity to spend time with their grandparents? How many people didn't have grandparents when they were growing up? Maybe it's time to dig back and find out who they are, if they're still alive. Spend time with them, because once they're gone, you're never going to get that time back.
Nope, you sure are not. Well, and a lot
You
of
know,
times I get the excuse from people because I truly do love to cook, and that was something I was taught, and I genuinely enjoy. But people say that, well, I don't really like to cook. I don't really like to play games, whatever. I'm not really good at this. The truth is, though, is if you start trying, you might find that you're better at it than you think. A lot of that has to just do with lack of, somebody teaching you, right? And maybe lack of your of effort on your part to learn or whatnot, right? And so I just encourage you to try to put yourself out there, because there are lots of ways that you can have a lot of family fun around this holiday season that doesn't have to break the bank, that doesn't have to cost a lot of money, that is going to be so much more enjoyable, right? Than just, oh, great, we wasted 10 grand on all kinds of ridiculous presents. And now we don't know if we're going to be able to make our house payment or apartment payment, rent payment, or whatever, right, come January 1st. That's not a place you want your family to be in. And honestly, like anybody who's ever had a little bitty kid knows this. They're more excited about the box than the thing inside of the box. Right? They're more engaged with like that creative. And so as adults, we sort of have lost that creative mindset, I think, if you will. And so Santa and I are just trying to bring you back to your youth and remind you that you do have that creative little kid up in you. I promise they exist and
give it
you can
an
do it.
opportunity to try. Absolutely. Because we're so wrapped up in, doing this, that we need to spend time with our family. We need time to spend with our children before the children grow up and then they suddenly say, well, we got to spend time with our own children. We don't have time to spend time with you anymore. And
Yeah,
then
for
you're going
sure.
to be, what kind of monster did I create that they don't want to spend time with me anymore?
Oh, absolutely. Well, and I mean, I even think to myself, my husband and I can be very guilty because we do a lot of business on our cell phones and things like that, of going to dinner and being around our toddler and kind of being on phones and screens. And I have to remind myself that she's also learning from me, right? Like while this is transpiring, and I'm teaching her bad habits of like not being present and in that moment and etc. Right. And I think that's the other reason, I'll be real with you, on why a huge amount of time people are not staying present, like they're spending a lot of money, is because it's easier to spend money than to stay in that moment and be present and try to engage. And so I can't stress this enough. Almost everybody across the board, no matter race, religion, color, creed, they would much rather you be present in the moment than spending a lot of your hard earned money. And I think honestly, spending money sometimes for a lot of people is just an excuse, right? It's just like, it's just an easy checkbox. Like, well, it's Santa's birthday. I need to get him a gift. So, whatever. As opposed to, I'm going to take my time, I'm going to take my effort, and I'm going to spend time with Santa. I'm going to be present. Maybe I'm not going to, buy him a big expensive gift, but I'm going to make him his very favorite meal, or, purchase for him his very favorite candy or something like that, to show him how much I value him and I care about him.
Well, there's the old analogy too. You can only buy love for so long.
Oh, for sure. And a
You
lot of
know,
people are doing that, right? Because it's just, because again, it's
absolutely.
easier.
Because they feel guilty because of this, that, or whatever other reason they can use for a reason, instead of, spending time with their children. Well, I'll buy them the biscuits back because I don't have time for them, because they don't want to make time for them. And that's how society is unfortunately going. There's a few people catching on, but we need to change our society ways. I know the economy is tough. I know it's been tough for the last couple of years, and maybe things will start changing around. Maybe you'll sit back and open your eyeballs to the reality that, your children are growing up in front of you faster than you want to believe. And when you believe that statement right there, hopefully it doesn't kick you in the teeth and go, what did I do wrong?
Yeah, for sure. Well, my stepdaughter said something to me one day about being present, and that she would much rather go less places, have less things, and have her parents be present in her life than the alternative. Now, obviously, this is coming from the perspective of an adult, but for her to sort of have that perspective, right? As my husband and I make decisions about our 3-year-old, it was so good, to hear that, because she's absolutely right. And there are times, even myself, like I get caught up in, oh, I have to do this. Oh, I have to provide this. Oh, I have to, et cetera, et cetera. And the truth is, Kat just wants me to be with her. You know what I mean? Be
Yep,
present,
yep,
hear what she has to
yep.
say, be interested in her ideas.
They are realizing that they're trying to tell you to slow down because life happens. And we all know life happens. It was like me going into the truck and going over the road trucking. I would have never done that when the children were little, because it gave me, yes, I made great money. Yes, I was able to do a lot of different things once you have some money put away and you have your bills all caught up. But when the children were little, I was rather be broke and spend time with the children than be gone with them and watch them grow up when I'm not there.
Absolutely.
And that's a life lesson that I made. And yes, I sometimes I look back and go, do you really think I made the right choices? You're the only one that's going to be able to figure that part out.
Well, that's the whole premise of Financial Mastery Simplified, is living life on your terms, because there is no true one right way, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what's best for one family may not work for another family, may not work for another, individual, and that's okay. It's about learning how to figure out what does work for you, and how you can just reach out, and sort of grab a hold of what's going to help you become the most successful version of yourself, both financially and otherwise, that you can absolutely possibly be. And I just have to say, I appreciate you, Santa, on coming and joining us again for another episode. For those of you who are not aware, I will tell, and I'll let Santa speak to it, but he does do personalized videos, reading of books and things like that, which may be a way more, appropriate gift for maybe a loved one than your typical 8 million toys that they're going to just throw aside after 2 hours anyways, right? So Santa, explain a little bit about some of the things that you do that can kind of make people's holiday season special.
Well, absolutely, and thank you. I mean, we got off on a little bit of tangent about talking about family and talking about creating happy, joyful, positive memories without breaking the bank. And people, you got to realize that, like Jax just said, it's not always the shiny object that wins over the child. They get more excited about the box. And what I'm doing now is I'm reading stories to the children. Can you imagine sitting around the TV with your children and your grandchildren, and I'm reading a story to the children, and I say their names in that story? That's going to create a lifetime of memories for the children, for the parents. And yes, I'd love to have a conversation with any of your people that are watching this on how I can create that. I do happy birthday videos. I do Santa check-in videos. I've created through the power of networking and meeting amazing people. People have given me ideas and suggestions on giving back that personal touch by doing personal videos for people to create that lifetime of memory for your family that you're going to be proud and excited to share with. So, I'm at santapapajohn.com, and I'd love to talk with any of you out there that would like me to create a story with them. I had a lady say, well, you do Santa check-ins. What are those? Well, maybe the kids are acting up. Maybe they need a little bit of encouragement. But
Absolutely.
they can be made for parents
Yes.
and grandparents as well, because the one lady said, my mother was alone for the last 5 years of her life, loved the idea of Christmas, loved the idea of Santa, and loved the idea of maybe receiving a video from Santa to cheer her up. So,
Absolutely.
people of all ages love Christmas. There's no age limit to believing in Santa and Christmas time. And creating wonderful memories for people of all ages doesn't have to break the bank, but it will create a memory that they will last and you will cherish for a long time. So give it some
Absolutely.
thought. If you want something like that, folks, I'd be happy to chat. This has been amazing, Jax. Once again, we've created some very interesting conversation. I hope some of your people will giggle and laugh because we're laughing at each other. We're creating some very interesting conversation, but we're making it real, folks. We're making it real on, we're parents. We want the best for our children. We want to give our parents, we want to give our children the best opportunity to move forward in their own life to create some positive decisions.
Absolutely. Yes, and that is absolutely our goal on Financial Mastery Simplified is not only just to kind of drill down financial concepts and try to simplify them, but really to help you create the life of your dreams and your desires on your terms. And so, absolutely, if there's anything we can do to help you out, please make sure that you reach out and you check out all the different kinds of resources we offer, both free and paid. We are absolutely happy to help. Thank you so much, Santa, for joining us on this episode of Financial Mastery Simplified. And we look forward to seeing you again on the very next episode. Thank you.
Ho, ho, ho.